Hello, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to learn about high force testing on the MTS Criterion Model 43 Tensile Tester. Using high force components, you will be able to test forces up to 50 kilonewtons on larger samples like dog bones of different materials. Now, let's move on to the physical setup. For high force testing, the procedure for installing grips is pretty simple. To turn on the system, press the power switch. It's on the right side of the machine. Let's ensure now that the system is locked so that it can't move. Note that if there is no light on the lock icon, that means that the system is locked. Let's determine what load cell we want to use. By default, the 50 kilonewton load cell will always stay in the system. The load cell of choice is essentially daisy-chained onto the larger load cell. For now, we will leave the 50 kilonewton load cell by itself. Going back to the grip setup, place the lower grip into the bottom mount and insert the pin. Using this hook wrench, or this rod, tighten the lower lock nut by rotating this component clockwise. Before you move on, make sure that this component is nice and tight. Place the upper grip into the top mount and insert the pin to prevent it from moving. Note that there are two components to tighten here. Make sure that you tighten this one nice and snug, while making sure that you tighten this only a little bit so that you can allow for yourself to have full mobility when you perform your alignments. Now that the grips are on here, let's unlock the grip by pressing the lock button until the green light comes on. Using these arrows here, I'm going to bring the top grip down until it is relatively close to the bottom grip. To prevent the grips from unintentionally hitting each other, I'm going to place this height restriction lock just under the indicator for the top grip. To align these grips together, we're going to fully open both grips and insert a metal slab in the middle. Now, once your slab is inserted, make sure to tighten both grips until it's nice and firm. That looks good. So now I can go back and tighten this upper component that we left a little bit loose earlier to complete the alignment. Now that I've verified that everything is all nice and tight, I can loosen this system and remove my metal slab. And there you go. For all high force testing grips, they're all added in the same manner. Remember that sloppy load frames can lead to big errors in displacement, so make sure that your system is tight all over before you do any tests. Now, let me show you how to remove the high force testing grips. Before you remove the grips, you need to make sure that you have enough space so that you can move the grips around. So what we're going to do is first unlock the controller and press the up arrow until the grips are far enough away from each other. This should be good right here, so I'm going to lock the controller. Since the grips are fully tightened, I'm going to start by just making sure that I unlock these grips all the way. Now, beginning with the lower grip, I'm going to start by rotating this component counterclockwise until it starts getting nice and loose. Then you can remove the pin that you put in there and take out the grip, making sure that you place it in a safe location. Now, let's move on to the upper grip by rotating this component clockwise. There we go. Now, after you make sure that these components are nice and loose, take out the pin and remove the upper grip. Note that for some of you, this may be a little bit heavy, so if you need help, make sure that you go ask for some. And now we're done. For the most part, the other grips for high force testing can be loosened in the same manner. Now that the grips are detached, let me show you how to change the load cells. Typically, load cells are changed so that they can be more sensitive to the sample being tested. For example, if a sample only requires 1 kilonewton of force to break, then it would make much more sense to use the 5 kilonewton load cell rather than the 50 kilonewton. In order to get the highest quality data, choose the most appropriate load cell for your sample. If you don't know what type of load cell to use, make an educated guess and select a load cell with a higher maximum force than what you think you need. Be careful when doing this so that the force that you're exerting does not exceed the maximum threshold of the load cell. Let's go back to actually placing the load cells now. First, you want to ensure that the power is turned off. Then, you'll want to remove the receiver and the power connection from the 50 kilonewton load cell. Be careful when removing the receiver because it does take a little bit of time, and it just drops right there. Now, this operates on a twist and turn. So just make sure you just turn it towards you and then you can pull it off. Now, place any high force load cell where the receiver was. Just make sure you just gotta catch a couple threads. And then as you come up to the top, just make sure that you keep this connection over to the right for easy access. Now, low force load cells have their own special way for them to be installed, which will be explored later. Now that this is on there, you can install and align your respective grips. Thanks for watching.